And all right, welcome everyone to another episode of Hawaii's #1 podcast, the Kasanova podcast. I'm your host, Mekel Kasanova, Hawaii's favorite YouTuber, and I am here with the one, the only, the YouTube tech sensation, the tech gentleman. Go ahead and introduce yourself, man.
Oh man, that's a wonderful intro, man. I appreciate that. But my name is Eric Kelly, aka the Tech Gentleman. I'm just out here making tech videos about things I like, man. People tend to like that too, so that's where we at.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. Go ahead, man. Let's give us a little background on yourself, man. How you got started and whatnot, and you know what's your challenge about? Like what you enjoy doing so far?
Yeah, man. So far, so I guess to be honest about starting my YouTube channel, initially I knew it wasn't going to be a lot of money in it, but I was buying a lot of tech anyway. And Kevin the Tech Ninja made a video about why you should start a YouTube channel. And he said, if you're in it for the money, don't do it. But if you like free stuff, make a YouTube channel. And I'm like, you have me at free. You know, I'm spending money anyway. But then after my first couple of videos, people started asking me questions. And I'm like, well, I work in tech, you know, already. I work in IT. I love helping people with tech. So it kind of moved more towards that avenue of being able to show people how to use their devices and, you know, the ins and outs. And, oh, they may not know this, put out a tips video and just kind of, you know, peel back the layers on tech for people and you know, help them answer their questions.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. I mean, we both work in IT, man. It's a thankless job, but man, it's a lot of fun. Like the stuff that we get to tinker around with. And you know, Kevin's right, man. Like the fact that you get into doing tech YouTube or just YouTube in general, like working with companies, you just constantly get free stuff left and right. It's insane.
Yeah. That was, like I said, that wasn't initially, that was what I felt like YouTube was going to be for me, a way to just either get for free or get a discount on stuff I was already spending money on. But like I say, it just got to the point where now, you know, I'm a part of the Team 100 community. We got a, you know, small community of just passionate people that love tech. Shout out to them. Definitely the whole Team 100 crew, the community. They've been, you know, awesome, man. It's somewhere you can go and you can nerd out, you know, to, you know, the fullest extent. And they're right there with you, man. So just meeting those guys is a benefit of YouTube already.
And that's what's up, man. I know a couple people in Team 100, so what's up to everyone in there?
Yeah.
But yeah, man. What I know you're also into gaming, and I know you're really passionate about tech. Like, what got you to become passionate about both?
So gaming is that was our, you know, action figure growing up. You know, before there were games, you know, you were in the comics and you were in action figures. But for us, you know, starting out with the original Nintendo, you know, after that, just going through games and just seeing how they progress. And then if you're interested in technology and how that progresses, video games are really the driving force behind technology, especially computers and displays and processors, GPUs. All those are basically being designed to make games more realistic and more immersive. So they kind of go hand in hand. But for me, like I said, definitely the fact that you can look at a console versus a PC and see that gap shrink closer and closer.
Yeah.
That's been, you know, that's really been, you know, kind of a driving force for me in my passion for video games, just seeing what they can do with such limited hardware. It's really kind of amazing.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. And it's getting to a point now, like the technological leaps that we've made in like the last, I want to say like the last 10 years have been just like we just been jumping. I mean, we went from like, you know, having the first couple smartphones came out, like 11 years ago?
So it depends on what you call a smartphone. Some people feel like that started with the iPhone, which is, you know,
Team BlackBerry all day.
Exactly. Like some people feel like that was, you know, that started with the iPhone, which is 11 years ago. But before then, we had smartphones. You know, we had pocket PCs, we had Palms and things like that. But I think that the iPhone just made the smartphone cool. You know, they made it trendy. So, you know, some people feel like it started then, but it started way before then, though. So we've had them a while. But they were really just like a business thing. Like if you had a BlackBerry, you were, you know, you were handling business, even though you were messing around, you weren't doing anything. Just because you were a business guy. You know, that's what it was.
Yeah, I remember like back when I was in college, like I want to say like 13, 14 years ago, like people were, well, no, that not that damn long ago. I ain't that old. Okay, so like 10 years ago, I'll put it that way. 10, 12 years ago, like I remember if you pulled out a BlackBerry, man, that was a status symbol right there. Like people were like, what are you doing?
Exactly. Like the respect just went up for whatever he was doing. They started
Right?
putting respect on it. Like, hey, I thought he was just over there, messing around, but he probably doing some business. Now you got that BlackBerry. Like the idea just to have one, just the stunt, that wasn't really a thing then.
Man, for real, you could stunt hard on folks with the BlackBerries. If you had that the Palm Trio, man.
Oh yeah, man. Even even a couple of Windows phones like the Motorola, the Moto Q or something like that. Samsung Blackjack. They kind of were more popular smartphones because they actually had Windows on them, so they were about as smart as you could get back then. But yeah, man, it was it definitely started before iPhone.
Yeah, definitely did, man. Hey, what kind of headphones is those, man? Those look fire.
Oh, then these are the blue Lolas, man. My wife got me these.
Word.
Yeah, man. She been basically what I put on my Christmas list and stuff for my channel or for podcasting. So started out with the Blue Yeti. That's a must-have, I think. And then I started scoping some other Blue products because I was just kind of impressed with the build on the Blue Yeti, and they had a lot of headphones. And I'm like, they're doing mics, man, and they're doing headphones. They got to be about something. And so they so they're wired, but just this little suspension mechanism just looks crazy. I think, and then the build is top notch. This is a solid product, man. And it sounds pretty good too.
Man, I need to upgrade. I got the V Moda crossfades. I've had these for since 2015. They're good, man, but like I'm starting to get like, you know how like the headphones go like one-sided, so it's starting to happen so I'm like, I need to upgrade. So I was thinking about either some AKGs or Skull Candy, the Skull Crushers, but then man, I saw those. I'm like, man, those look crisp.
Yeah. Nice, man. Like I said, they're not wireless. You can plug them into a phone and they'll sound pretty good. So they aren't crazy hard to push or anything like that. But like I said, I like them. I just like different looking tech, man. Like that really what drew me in, and then kind of researching Blue more that sold me on it. And I've been wanting some V Motors though, for real.
That's what's up, man. Hey, so how did you come up with the name The Tech Gentleman? I'm curious about that.
So as far as coming up with a name, I really wanted something because I was older. I started my YouTube channel about 2.5, 3 years ago. So I was older when I started it, and I wanted something that,
man, you don't look a day over 21. What you talking about? Hey, quit playing, man.
I appreciate that. I'll take that any day of the week right there, man. but I wanted something that I wouldn't, I wanted a name that could travel with me as I got older, more mature, and things like that. I started out trying to do something like with a little acronym. Sadly, the acronym for my name, ECK, spells eek. I'm like, that's not really the business. So I just kind of, wanted something that was a little bit more mature and kind of different. A lot of people are doing, their tech names are, kind of lighthearted and things like that. I want something that's kind of more, professional and, suave. So the Tech Gentleman or Tech Gent kind of
put that swagger on it.
Yeah,
I feel you, man.
Yeah,
I feel you on that.
To be honest, when I first thought of it, I was like, yeah, I can be the Tech Gentleman, and I just wear a suit in every video, and that instantly went downhill. Instantly, like, nah, I'll just be the Tech Gentleman and be behind the camera.
Man, I wish I could wear like suits out here in Hawaii, man. It's too damn hot. Like, even for me, just wearing like a dress shirt like this to go to work, because I work as an analyst for a hospital. And it's like, man, talk about walking from my car down the block to the hospital. I'm already sweating like a hooker in church, man. It's too hot out here. I can't even imagine wearing a suit.
Oh yeah, look, it's the heat ain't no joke over here either. I'm in Alabama and go to Mississippi and Atlanta a lot, so the heat is no joke out here. That's why, like I said,
the heat hadn't broke. Like the temps haven't dropped.
It just dropped about a week and a half ago, right after the storm came up.
Yeah.
We didn't get any damage or anything, but the temp just dropped, like the bottom pulled out. Because we had been, 70, 80-ish until a half ago. So, yeah, it's cooling off now.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah.
All right. So like what have been like some of your triumphs and your challenges that you've encountered in this, YouTube and tech journey that you've been on?
Man, so I guess I'll start out with the triumphs. Really, just the support and just the
Hmm.
realization that pretty much no matter what you do, there's going to be somebody out there that feels what you do, that agree with
Hmm.
you. You meet interesting people that just vibe or whatever you're doing.
Hmm.
Um, and that's been a beautiful thing. That's kind of given me the confidence to keep going, regardless of the subs or anything like that. Just meeting people in the comments, and especially through Team 100, it's really been I feel like that's been the biggest triumph. Like even if YouTube shut down tomorrow, like I still gain something from YouTube through the people I've met. As far as the struggles, really, it's been a struggle trying to differentiate,
Yeah.
and kind of fall into the same line that everybody else is falling into. Um, and also kind of keep your head clear, because I actually had some of my subscribers tell me, because I was like, man, I'm not doing unboxing videos. Everybody's doing that. I'm not doing these videos or those videos. And, I had one subscriber, hit me up. They're like, I want to see you do this. Like, I'm subscribed to you. I want to hear your take on it. Like, I don't want to
Yeah.
hear anybody else's. Like, I want to see you do it. And that kind of let me know it's like, no matter how crowded it seems, everyday people, they aren't watching, hundreds of tech videos every week. You might be the only person they see or they, tune into. So,
Hmm.
that was like I said, that's always a struggle, just trying to stay focused and, kind of power through those downtimes where you feel like, what you're doing isn't really, you know, kind of piercing through or, coming to the surface. But it turns out it is though.
Yeah, and that's one of the struggles like I've run into when I was doing like trying to do video game reviews or unboxings, because it's YouTube is so oversaturated with a lot of people doing the same thing, and I
Yeah.
see like a lot of the top gaming YouTubers all have the same format. Like you can see
Mm.
like the thumbnails the same, the style that they deliver, everything's all the same. And it's like, how do you stand out? And
Yeah.
I got in that same rut, man. Like I was like, I'm not gonna do unboxings. I'm not gonna do, reviews on this. I'm not gonna review this tech. And then I had the same thing where I've got, a lot of my audience either reaching out to me on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. They're like, look, we want to see how you do it. You know,
Yeah.
put that Hawaii spin on it. I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay, I guess.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
man.
man.
It's definitely hard, man. Like I say, especially in the gaming, because the majority of what you want people to see is the game, and just the way you present that, it's hard to put a big spin on that.
Definitely
Yeah.
is, man.
But
And I had to say, man, because I really like your videos, man. You have a very uniquely original and fresh approach to not only your videos, but your brand as a whole. Like, how did you carve your own line, your own lane in this like super oversaturated landscape of YouTube, man? Because what you're
uh,
doing is just fire, bro.
wow, thanks, man. I really appreciate that. As far as being unique, man, I just talk about what I want to talk about. The things that are
Hmm.
important to me. And instead of trying to, hit some bullet points that everybody else is doing, or doing a video the same way everybody else is doing it, I just kind of present people with what they came for. So the only thing,
Hmm.
you don't see me up in the videos, like Suge said, you don't see videos, somebody all up in the, songs and stuff. Come see me, like I'm showing you the device, I'm showing you the product, whatever you can to see. That's first and foremost. And then just, trying to give you something interesting. Like sometimes I actually watch videos and look for
Hmm.
things people specifically aren't talking about, features that they aren't mentioning. That's really my goal, especially with my tips and tricks videos. And then things that I just find myself doing on a daily basis. Like I try to, kind of give people a little glimpse into, how somebody who just eats, sleeps, and breathes tech uses
Hmm.
the device, or, kind of shortcuts that I use.
And I think, that's for me, like that's one of the reasons like I come back to your videos because, and I'm gonna go into this question later on in the show, but
Mhm.
one of the things, given that you and I work in IT, I do not see a lot of tech YouTubers cover things that would cater to us as tech, people
Mhm.
in the IT field. Like I hear a lot of people talk about being power users and using social media and using camera stuff, and I'm over here like, yo, I'm an analyst. I need to know how much RAM is in this phone. I need to know, can it handle like remote desktop? Can it handle me
Yeah.
doing presentations or any type of stuff. Like, and I like the way you do your tips and tricks. I like just the style and how you approach it. You're uniquely different than anyone else, man. And I greatly appreciate what you do.
Wow, man, I just appreciate the support, man. That's amazing. But it's funny you say that because my main tablet right now is the Galaxy Tab S4, and one of my goals with getting it, we recently had kind of like a dump of tablets. You had the Surface Go come out from Microsoft, and then I had the Tab S3, and so just kind of deciding to go to it. But my goal was to actually make it so that I could edit videos, basically, and still be with my wife and my daughter, and not be like in the office, sitting in there in front of a high computer, editing videos for an hour. And that's actually something that is great at. I'm actually gonna make a video about it, but I just remote desktop into my main PC. I use the pen and I can go through in Adobe Premiere, fully editing the videos and everything.
Word?
Yeah, man, it's pretty cool. That's something that I feel like is, kind of lifting the veil on how, we'll just find a way to make some tech work, like push it to its limits, see what it's capable of. And that's something I found that it's actually great at.
Man.
Yeah.
I gotta get your opinion though, because I've got an iPad Pro first gen. I'm kind of like, I feel like iPads or Apple in general and IT just don't mix. So I'm looking at switching over to using a Galaxy Tab because like my main phone right now, I think you and I have been talking about this for a couple of weeks. Like I've been looking at upgrading, but I got my Note 9, my Note 8 for work, but I'm looking. I need a tablet too. So if that Tab S4 is that good, if you say it's approved, man, I'm all for it. I'm gonna go grab it. I get it today.
Yeah, man. I've been shocked with just and like I said, you said that we'll touch on it later, but just being a power user, that's one of the things where you just instead of just using something how it's presented to you, you're gonna try out everything. You're gonna try new things, try it in different ways. Just gotta see how flexible it is. And that was one of those things that I tried, not even intending to buy it for that, but that's been kind of like the biggest difference maker for me with the tablet. It's been working surprisingly well. Like I've been shocked.
It's like no slowdown or latency or anything like that.
No latency, no lag, and then you get the audio coming through the tablet too. So I'll be sitting there with some Bluetooth headphones on my tablet, and I'm sitting there, listening to the audio from the video. Like, oh, no, I need to move the gain up on this or put a limiter on that. It's been really good for that. Like I never thought it would be. I always thought you needed a first party app for that, and that's really originally what I bought it for. I was going to use something like Power Director because it's going to actually output 4K videos. But just trying that because I had some videos on my desktop, and instead of transferring them over to the tablet, they kind of seemed redundant. I was like, well, let me just hop on a remote desktop. And I've done things like make little small edits. Like maybe I got a video that's exporting, and then once it gets done, I remote desktop in and shoot it up to YouTube. But the other probably a week or so ago, I went in and actually made a video from scratch, through remote desktop, and it actually worked out pretty good.
Oh man, that's amazing. Okay, so I'm gonna go pick that up today. When we finish this podcast, I'm gonna head on over to Best Buy and go pick one up. I'm gonna they got a cellular version of that one, right?
Yeah, but I think you got to go to Verizon and get it, and it's a little bit pricier. They might have a deal on Samsung.com right now. I know they're feeling the heat, so they've been trying to throw out some deals. But yeah, I definitely check Samsung.com first, see if they're trying to throw you.
All right, cool, man. I gotta ask you also, man, like what devices have become like your go-tos or your daily drivers and why?
So right now the Note 9 is my right hand right here.
I'm over here hating because I'm still on a Note 8.
Yeah, I got my Note 8 in the bedroom actually. I'm sending it back because Samsung's doing a trade-in deal right now. Originally I wasn't gonna get the Note 9, but just between discounts and trade-in deals, it became like a ridiculously good deal. But the biggest reason I wanted to upgrade, first and foremost, was the battery life on my Note 8. It was weak, especially for me. Just the way that I use it, I'm disrespectful. Like I've got 4 Gmail accounts syncing. I've got Evernote, I've got Drive, I got a whole bunch of stuff syncing to my phone all the time. So I'm pushing it to the limit. So I was looking to upgrade the battery. And that was a main reason for getting the Note 9. But just usually I have a Note device. Even if I have another device that I'm testing out, I have my note because I'm an avid S Pen user, like
Yeah.
like religiously. Like I've got hundreds of notes saved, constantly using them. If somebody's talking to me, I pull my pen out, jot it down, and then being able to, all your notes are indexed. So I
Mm-hmm.
open up S Note, even though I hand wrote all my notes, I can just punch in something that I wrote. It'll pull it
Mm-hmm.
up. It'll read the note and pull it up. So that's priceless. Like a digital notebook that's saved to the cloud, accessible anywhere. I just can't live without that.
Yeah.
So that's why it's my daily driver, for sure. That and the camera is, I need a 4K 60 as well. I'm trying to upgrade all my videos to 4K 60. I've done a couple with the S9 Plus and the OnePlus 6, but I need that 4K 60 future, and this is what I'm gonna use to get it.
And, a lot of my videos, I've actually switched over to recording in 4K 60, and it takes a hell of a lot longer to render, but
Yeah.
man, that is crispy.
Oh yeah, yeah. It looks good, man, and it's future proof, right?
Yeah.
Right now, if you're on the bleeding edge, they just started selling 8K TVs, but you know, uh, 4K has still got a long way to go before it's just available to everybody. And
Yeah.
you'll be ready. Like once they go from 1080p up to 4K, they'll still be able to see your video and it'll still be crispy and all that stuff.
Yes, sir. All right, man. So I also wanted to ask you, when it comes to, because circling back around to YouTube and whatnot. So what goes into becoming a tech YouTuber, and what does one need to do to set themselves apart from the pack of other tech YouTubers, in your opinion?
As far as becoming a tech YouTuber, really it's just about, I think you just need one device and you can just make videos about that one device. Like whatever it is. It can't be any device. I think that if you're going to start out, especially if it's going to be in the mobile space, you need either an iPhone or a Samsung product. Those are the two products that are going to get the most views. And then also, people, you can make the most videos about them. They have the most accessories. They're getting updates. You have iPhone 6s and iPhone 7 still getting iOS 12 updates, so you can still make videos about new updates, and it's not that big of a difference between them. And then Samsung products, there's just so many of them being sold that everybody wants to see. Like, well, you got a tips and trick video. I've been shocked, to be honest, how well tips and tricks videos go. Originally, that was one of the things I said I wasn't going to do because I felt like everybody knew how to use their products already. First one I made, I think it was like for the LG V20 or something like that. And that video, like I looked up, it had like 40,000 views. I'm like, people really want to see this. Okay. No taking. All right. Get ready. Tips and tricks coming. So yeah, I think that's key. And then just it takes some time to find your own niche. But ironically, there's so many people out there. People are going to vibe more with you than the actual products or the information you're delivering. Like you have people that get crazy views. They might not even be that technically savvy or use all the buzzwords, but people just vibe with with how they're presenting themselves in the videos. How they're talking.
I'll throw a name out there. Justine.
Yeah, she has a unique appeal, definitely. It's definitely hard for a lot of YouTubers to emulate what she's putting out there. But she's obviously passionate about Apple products, right? For to the fullest, and she presents it in a unique way. She's doing interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Sorry, no, you're tripping, man.
No, man, yeah, it's cool, man. This podcast is all organic, so anything goes. You can say whatever you want. You can do whatever you want, man. I had people on here that like, hey, man, can I drink a beer? Can just kick back and let loose? I'm like, hey, it's organic. I don't care. You have fun with it. Do what you do. Like,
oh yeah. If it was a little bit later, I'll go ahead and bust out some whiskey.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Feel free to say whatever you want, man. This is how we keep it. We keep it 100 on the show.
Oh, yeah, I definitely will.
All right, man. So, I have to ask as well, with 4K, has that really become the standard right now, given how 8K is right around the corner, or are we still dealing with 1080, or actually 720 is still kind of like, for most people, they have that.
Yeah, 720 is still hanging out there. I think that they're making it more and more difficult not to adopt 4K, at least on the TV front.
Hmm.
I mean, you can walk into Best Buy right now, get a 43-inch 4K TV for like under $300, and it's
Yeah,
not crappy. Like it's got HDR, it's crispy, it's got the resolution. Yeah, I mean it's becoming more and more difficult. Whenever you buy your next TV, it's probably going to be 4K.
yeah,
It's going to be hard to justify not doing that. The problem is always going to be the content though. Like you
yeah,
have a couple of, if you're a cord cutter, probably know Netflix, all of the Netflix original shows, they're uploaded in 4K HDR. Right. So they're kind of leading the way with building up a nice repertoire of 4K content. Then you have people like Voodoo that are giving you 4K. Google Play Movies and the Google Play Movies and TV app just said they're going to upgrade all of your content, all the stuff you've bought that was
mhm.
HD. They're going to update it to 4K for free. So of
Okay.
course, in the future you have to buy it in 4K, but they're going to lower the price on the 4K stuff.
Yeah,
So I think that the content is definitely going to be there for 4K. 8K is worlds away right now.
yeah.
Yes.
I remember seeing like back in 2015, like I went to because I was working for Microsoft back then, and I went to this convention, and I forget the name of it. It could have been CES, but I went to this convention in LA, and I got to see an 8K TV in person. I'm like,
Ooh.
what is this? I'm like, they're like, oh, this is 8K. This is in development. I'm like, we just got 4K. Yeah, we're working on 8K right now. I'm like,
Yeah, yeah.
clarity is insane, man. But speaking about like the 4K TVs, like I remember back in 2014, 2015, like getting a 4K TV, a bare bones one at that was still
Oh,
like a grip. You were paying like a dropping a G on it.
yeah, yeah. If you want anything that wasn't bottom of the line and had decent color reproduction, you were doing that for real. Don't mention HDR when it first dropped. Because to be honest, for me, the biggest, if I show you a 1080p TV and a 4K TV,
Hmm.
you notice a difference if you're pixel peeping and you get up close and you kind of expect it. But you show somebody a HDR set, it's jaw dropping. Like that is to me the biggest differentiator right now is HDR. And of course you're gonna have HDR on a 4K set right now. So um, I think that's been the biggest revolution, on top of the 4K. And I think that that'll kind of make 8K less of a factor too. Like it'll be less of a rush to go to 8K. Just
Yeah.
would get better and better HDR on cheaper sets.
I mean, that's why I was kind of mad when I got my first 4K TV back in 2015. As soon as I got that, I got it right
Mm.
before Black Friday, and the next day I know they're like, "Oh, this has HDR," and I'm
Mm.
like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, we're in the same boat, man. We're in the exact same boat. What makes it so bad? So I hopped on a good deal on a Vizio 55-inch,
Hmm.
and like a month later, Vizio started saying, "Hey, we're going to drop an update that's going to bring HDR to our TV sets."
I
And
think we got the same TV,
yeah, and they had an asterisk down there, and it's like, except for the one you bought, Eric, you're not getting the update. You're not getting HDR. So literally, I'm just sitting here like, it took me so long to buy this TV. Like I waited. Like it's bad when you and your wife go to Best Buy and she's like, "Can we please get a TV?"
right?
it, I'm like, it just don't feel right. Like I need to do more research. I need to wait. I need to wait. And I finally bought one. Like it's a good deal. I've been looking, and then they're like, "Yeah, HDR." Because at the time, HDR, you had to buy. I mean, you had to spend like at least like $1,500 to get a set just that had HDR. Now you can get one, like I say, for $400.
I saw one today, the Best Buy deals thing. It's like 250 for one 4K. I think it's a high sense. It's like 250. It's for
Mhm.
43-inch. It got 4K and HDR 10, and I'm like, man, because
Yeah.
you and I think we got if it's the same 55-inch Vizio, is it like the P series?
No, it's not the P, is the D series. The P is their top of the line for Vizio.
Okay, I got a D series
Yeah, the D, there's no love for the D series right now.
then.
I thought I was getting a good deal. Cause I mean, I'm telling you, man, I looked at the specs. I'm like, yeah, it's got the same processors, the other TVs, the number of, dimming zones and all that stuff, blah, blah, blah. But the HDR, man, I remember when I first saw HDR, I was like, I need to get this.
Right?
I need to wait for this burn from buying this other TV to go away the first time. But yeah, man.
I need to get because I gotta get. It's funny because like for my setup here, I use a 43-inch 4K TV, and a lot of people are like, that's insane. Why are you using that for a monitor? I'm like, well, for one, since I had to do a lot of remote work from home, I don't want to be sitting and squinting on like
Yeah.
23-inch, 25-inch. But I had like this. I had to, remember those Sony 3D TVs they had for like.
Yeah, yeah.
So I copped one of those off of Craigslist for like how much did I spend? I think like $50 because I needed a second one for like when I do my live streams and whatnot. Usually I have the questions up on that one, or if I'm gaming, I got my Elgato set up over here.
Oh yeah.
But last night when I was streaming with my last guest, it just straight died.
Oh
And I'm
dang.
over here like, I need to get a second monitor. So I was talking to my wife about it. I'm like, okay, so I said I can get another 23-inch. And she's like, no, just get another 43-inch and put it side by side. That way we got you got this whole. I'm like, yo, can you imagine how much screen that is? She's like, yeah. That means if you're gaming on your computer or working on it, I can sit over here and game on the other screen. I'm like,
yeah, man. She thinking about the fam, cuz.
right.
She worried about the family. She like, yeah, we all can have something, man. But yeah, man, we think a lot alike. Because the reason why I know specifically what a 43-inch 4K TV costs at Best Buy is because right now I have a 28-inch Samsung monitor. I use them for gaming and video editing. I got a pretty good deal off of it from Whoop, but it doesn't have HDR, obviously. And once you go 4K, 28 inches is not big enough at all. Everything is it's still real sharp and crispy and all that, but the elements on the screen is so small. It's like instantly you're like, I have to sit like a foot away from this to be able to discern what's on the screen. So you just got to go bigger. And from my research and just looking at my setup, 43 inches would be perfect for a monitor. And I can do anything. If I want to game on it, I want to edit videos on it. It's just a big enough surface to where you can actually do you can actually get the benefit of 4K, which is the ability to have a lot of things on screen at the same time, but still have it be clear and you be able to read everything and stuff like that. So I've been looking. I just haven't pulled the trigger yet.
And we do think the same, man, because I'm in that same boat. I'm over here like I need to just go and get this high. My wife is literally like, just buy the damn TV, just get it done already. I'm like,
it feels weird, man. It's like buying a car because you feel like a TV is gonna be like, I'm gonna buy this TV that's gonna last for like 10 years. Like this is a big decision. Like phones is like it's okay to spend, even if phones cost more than TVs. It's like a year or two, I get another phone. But with TVs, it's like I just feel like this is forever.
Right?
This was the last TV I ever buy. I don't know, man. It's crazy.
Oh man. So what is your take on like when it comes to filming YouTube videos? Do you think it's like imperative to film it in 4K with the HDR, or should you shoot it in like 1440 or 1080, 60 frames per second? I know we covered a lot of it earlier, but like, what is your take like for someone who either has been in YouTube or is just getting started? I think you and I would say 4K, but
yeah, and especially with 4K 60, if you can shoot 4K 60, especially because I know like the iPhones and the Samsung products, they give you the option to use a newer codec, the HEVC, and your 4K 60 video ends up coming out roughly about the same size as a 1080p 60 video. So you get a huge drop in the file sizes, which a regular 4K 60 video would be huge. But also, if you want to do anything, especially in editing, like you want to do any kind of slow motion, you've got the extra frames there because you're doing 60 frames. If you want to do any kind of zooms or pans in the video, it'll still look good because you've got the extra resolution. It's like, for me, I feel like that's the most flexible. You're getting the most information in your video. Then afterwards, you can do whatever you want to do. But if I had to choose between 1080p 60 and 4K, though, if you don't have access to 4K 60, I think it depends on the kind of video you're shooting. If you're going to be just, kind of stationary and, shooting maybe a person or, a stationary object, for the most part, go for the extra resolution. But if you're doing any kind of movement, I think 60 frames is the way to go.
And like, would you say it's best to get like a dedicated camera or DSLR for that, or is the phones are good enough? Like for me, I had a DSLR, but I just don't feel like setting it up. A lot of times I just pull out my phone and
Yeah,
plug in like my lavalier mic and I'm shooting from there. Like I feel like that's sufficient, but
I think for most people, phone cameras are so good now that that'll be plenty. The
mm,
only thing is you need to get you some sort of light. But once you
yeah,
get some light, I mean, it'll be you know probably hard to tell, especially for most people because the majority of people you consume YouTube on like a phone or a mobile device. So you're
mm,
not getting 4K anyway. So that 4K is being presented probably at 1080p or 1440p.
mhm,
Oh, man, my watch over here going crazy. But
no worries.
I think that's really going to be enough for most people. Just using the phone and getting you some little Amazon light, spending 25, $30 on Amazon, get you a
Mhm,
light, and then get you the phone and point it at it, man, and then learn how to use the manual controls. Because I know
mm,
for me, being able to go in, Samsung devices tend to overexpose a little bit, so they
yeah,
tend to blow out highlights and whites and things like that. You go in there, you drop the exposure a couple notches, and if you're on a tripod, you can run up the shutter speed a little bit, make some other adjustments. You can get some nice grain-free, crispy video out of a phone.
right, that's what's up, man. And then speaking of phone tech, like that's been on a massive rise over the last few years. Like, what
Yeah.
do you think, is basically the cause of it being so popular? Like, is it because it's becoming more affordable or because we've gotten so many different categories? Like, what do you think?
It's gonna sound bad. People that know me know I'm not a fan of Apple as a company. Products
Okay.
are okay. I feel they're overpriced, but Apple, I think, if you had to point to one single product or company that
Hmm.
popularized tech, it was Apple, especially smartphones. Because before, like we were talking about, smartphones existed before the iPhone, but
Hmm.
iPhone was kind of the first tech product to cross over and become almost like a kind of fashion statement,
Hmm.
like a status symbol. Like if you got the iPhone, you ain't got nothing. And Apple's slick because they even let you know when people that don't have an iPhone are talking to you. They let
Yeah.
you know when peasants are trying to interact with you in iMessage, right? So they know it's a different color, like, oh, you're not on my level. I can choose to interact with you or not. But they just created an ecosystem to where once you're a part of it, you feel like you've arrived. And
Hmm.
it's more of a social thing now. Like everybody pull up, people don't even know what iPhone they have. Like I was literally sitting at a table at lunch the other day. It was me and three other people, and they were asking me about the new iPhone. And I was kind of saying, like, well, it depends on what you're coming from and all that. And none of them could tell me, they all had outer boxes on, and none of them could tell me what iPhone they had. They're like, where do I go to see what iPhone I have? Like, I think I got the 7, I think I got the 6 or whatever. And they
Hmm.
finally like peel off their cases and like start looking at the backs of their phones, like, oh, I got an S, I think I got a 6S or whatever. Um, but I think that as far as its popularity and making smartphones mainstream, I think Apple really did that because it took Android a while to become mainstream. I think Samsung didn't really hit their stride till like the S3. When they put that same phone on all the carriers, they kind of figured out everybody wants the same phone, and we'll sell more of this one phone if we come out with it on all the carriers and don't make 4 different variants of it.
Yeah.
That was a while after Apple had already hit their stride.
And I think the same thing too, like with computers and tablets, like Apple has really made this like such a social, like you said, it's a status symbol.
Yeah.
But they've gotten so lazy, and I think without Steve Jobs, they've lost sight of what they're trying to do. Because I'm gonna be honest, the current guy, I don't think the current guy running Apple really knows how to market it to people. To be
Nah,
honest.
nah, definitely. Steve believed in this product, but it was his. He was going to do whatever he wanted with it. Like
Hmm.
he was very much about if but Steve Jobs felt like his job was to tell users what they needed, to tell them what they wanted. Like, hey, this is the iPhone, and this is what you need. You don't need nothing else. I don't care what Android doing. I don't care what BlackBerry doing. I don't care what nobody else doing. This is what you need. Like we figured it out for you. We've answered the questions because as an end user, you don't know enough about tech. That's
Yeah.
our job. let us do our job. Here you go. And it is what it is. You get one phone, one screen size. You get a couple. That's it. All right, and then you good for the year. And I mean, I think on a large scale that was true. A lot of people felt like they were okay with them making those decisions for them. They didn't need a lot of choice when it came to their products. Um, but Tim Cook definitely caved for real. I mean, they just came out with 3 iPhones. Like Steve Jobs probably rolling over in his grave. He's like, no, you're caving. They got one like 6 colors. They're like, no, like that's not the Apple way. Like you set the trend, you don't follow. Apple's been doing a lot of catch up, a lot of following
Yeah.
here lately under the new guy, but they're making money though, and that was kind of his thing. Like when they brought him in, they said that he was the money guy. He was not a visionary. He was not a an engineer. Like he was the guy that basically put together a lot of their efforts for making money, and they've been doing it. I mean, he came in and Apple sold the same phone for like 4 years and made money every year. Like I can only imagine what their margins were on those phones. By the time they made the 7 and the 7S, their body had been out for like 4 years. So it's
Yeah.
like they're making crazy money.
And that's the other thing too. Like I passed by the Apple store earlier today when I was dropping my wife off, and is something because I'm seeing like the lack of simplicity with Apple is just gone. Whereas before, you went in, you had the iPhone, you had the iPad, you had the MacBook, and
Mhm.
there's two different. You had the Pro and the Air, and then you had the iMac, and that was it. You had four. Well, you had the desktop thing too, but you had
Yeah.
like five products. Now you go in there and it's like, what is the focus of Apple?
Yeah.
You know, why are there? You've got the XS, you got the XR, you got the XS Max, you got the X, you got the 8 Plus, you got the 8. They're still selling the 7. So it's like
Yeah.
it's all over the place.
Yeah, they definitely lost their focus. Like I said, Steve Jobs was razor focused on delivering one experience, and he felt like that was the best experience. And I think the biggest example of kind of the lack of focus Apple has was when they dropped the X last year. They came out with this, and they're literally up there. This is the best iPhone ever made. This is the strongest glass, and the most advanced, and the future of design. But we also made 2 older iPhones too, just in case you don't like the new one. Like it was literally like dripping with uncertainty, and we hope you like it. And
Yeah,
that's definitely not how Steve Jobs presents stuff. Like this is it. This is what you've been waiting for. We've got it. Don't worry. You can buy it. It's high as hell. We got them for you though. Like that. And Apple has definitely lost that. I mean, especially with the XR. I mean, I don't know. I mean, they've been making more money every year. They had like a couple of quarters where they were kind of stagnant, where they didn't actually make more money. They just kind of were along the same lines.
hmm
It seems like now they're just trying to do anything to get more money, especially with the XR. It's gonna sell, but um, it's definitely not the same Apple that Steve Jobs started. They don't have that focus. They're becoming a lot more mainstream. They don't have the exclusivity anymore.
true. That's true. So I got to ask you the most controversial question: iOS or Android?
Oh, you ready for the hate, man?
I'm ready. Let's go.
You ready for the hate this stream is gonna receive?
I'm
Um,
strapped
I,
in.
I'm not a fanboy. I prefer Android just because of the flexibility. Well, kind of the kind of run of the mill stuff. iOS devices have their place. I think if you want somebody who just wants to kind of set it and forget it, they don't want to have a lot of decisions to make. They don't have to worry about how am I going to arrange my icons or what kind of wallpaper am I going to pick. They
Mhm.
just want something. They take it out and they open the app and they run it, and that's it. iOS is cool, but for me personally, definitely Android and all the different flavors because I think it's coming together, beautifully. You got Google picking up, actual features from OEMs and third-party manufacturers and stuff, and they're kind of baking them into the stock Android version, and it's just getting better and better every year.
Yeah, definitely, man. And I'm really happy that Android's gotten to this place where there's parity, now between I actually not even really parody. I'd say Android is just kicking Apple's ass. You know, if y'all want to flame me for saying that, it is what it is.
Hey,
I
long
got
as
both.
I'm
I
with
got
it.
I got both. You know, but my go-to is Android. It's just so much I can do with it that I can't. And I think it's because I'm into tinkering and tech that I really despise. Yes, I said despise. I despise iOS because it's like let me do what I want to do with the phone. Why do I have to jailbreak it to do the basic things that I could do out of the box on Android? You
Yeah.
know, it's annoying, and it's funny because my mother, she's been a diehard Windows Phone person for life,
Oh wow.
and she's still
So
got
I'm sorry.
she got the 950 XL. She loves that thing, but she's had some issues, so she had to update to I think she got the LG Stylo, and she's like, "This thing is so confusing." I'm like, "You should have just got an iPhone." For someone who don't really know how to do stuff, I think for
Yeah.
older people, just get an iPhone. If you
Yeah.
know,
And it's funny you say that because my work phone is actually a 950 XL. So that's what they actually issued me for work. And I was rooting so hard for Windows Phone, but Microsoft just I don't know they messed it up so bad. They dropped the ball. They were the first platform to come out and got a lot of praise initially. They just needed some hardware and some apps. And it's like that's going to come. You just got to keep producing. You know, you got to show that you're going to be there for the developers because they're not
yeah,
going to invest a lot of money and time into making apps for your platform if they don't know if you're going to be there in 2 years or 3 years or what your game plan is. Like you don't have a clear vision for your product.
yeah,
They couldn't provide that. But as far as the OS itself, I mean, out the box, it was like they're like, yeah, this is iPhone level smooth. Like,
yeah,
I mean, they literally copy and pasted a lot of the kind of restrictive stuff that Apple does. Apple didn't have to worry about that much, but I mean, there was so much you couldn't do customization wise, so that you could get that smooth experience on a Windows phone.
yeah.
And it was like they're doing it right. They're gonna give us a good third option. And it
Yeah.
was like never figured out the app stuff, and that kind of killed it, man. They had some interesting hardware, but never figured out the app stuff. That's
Yeah.
sad.
The last Windows phone I had was the HP Elite X3. When
Oh,
it
that's nice.
I had that for work, and man, I loved it because I'm a Windows phone guy too, man. I loved what they were doing,
Yeah.
but I feel like ever since the was it Satya Nadella, the new CEO, came in, he
Mm.
just didn't care about a lot of things. Like he got rid of the Microsoft band, which I thought the band was the most advanced thing out there.
Yeah, it was. Fitness people were saying it was the best fitness, like little fitness band you could buy, like the most advanced one.
You know, I had the one, I had the two. It was just it was great for everything I wanted to do for fitness. I mean, the Windows Phone experience was awesome. It's smooth, never had any issues. But it's just the whole thing about apps. Like you can use the browser for a lot of stuff, but at the end of the day, you need apps when you're on the phone, and they just dropped the ball.
Yeah, they did. They missed out, man. And I think Steve Ballmer was. I think he had a lot to do with the failure of Windows Phone because that initiative started and crashed and burned under him. I think when Satya Nadella came in, he just basically like just cut off the rotting ligament. Man, he just was like, "Hey, this is dying. We're gonna cut that off and just kind of salvage what we can." Because Microsoft I think they had just acquired like a large portion of Nokia before he
Yeah,
came in. And he came in, he just basically fired all of those people, like 15, I think like 15,000 people or something like that. It's a
yeah,
crazy amount. Let them all go. He's like, we're done making phones. Like, we're done with it. I guess they had a couple left in the pipe that he let come out, but after that, it was very clear. I mean, and I'll say this, his vision for the company has been clear. They are a services
yeah,
company. They're not even so much a software company anymore. Because even Windows operates more as a service where they want you to have a subscription and for everything.
yeah,
And if you want to, you can basically live a purely,
mhm,
service in your life. You want your email in the service, even on an enterprise level. If you want to just pay a subscription and have them, basically just use their entire infrastructure for email and storage and web hosting and all of that, they'll do that. And I think that's been beneficial for them. It kind of brought them into the future, but Windows Phone is just a casualty of that, man. He
Yeah.
really.
I mean, even Xbox too as a brand, like when because he came in, I want to say like 2011 or 2012 or so, right before the Xbox One dropped. And,
Mhm.
you can see like a lot of things with Microsoft fell off. I mean, their whole focus with the Xbox fell off, the phone fell off, uh,
Yeah.
their accessories and services, a lot of things fell off because he just wants services. I mean, look at Xbox Game Pass, right?
Yeah, man. And I think that's going to be. I don't know if you're going to talk about this later, but that's going. I think that's going to be the future.
Yeah.
Products like that, like the Game Pass and PlayStation Now. But yeah, man, he came in. He didn't pull no punches. He was like, "Hey, this is what we're doing. If you aren't in, I forget." He gave 3 areas that they were going to focus on. He was like, like services, software, and like cloud or something like that. He's like, if your job doesn't pertain to any of those 3 things, you might want to start looking for another job. And he
Yeah.
was not lying. He
Yeah.
came in with that, putting the hammer down, man. It was crazy.
He's like, you're not part of it. You're fired. Go ahead, get out.
And I mean, he gave people a nice little severance package and all that stuff. I forget how many months of salary was tied up in it, but yeah, man, he was like, "We got to stop the bleeding, need to refocus," and they really did. Microsoft was kind of all over the place. They had a lot of really old models. They were the only company where, in order to upgrade your OS, you had to go to a store, buy a disk, and then install it and hope that all your data didn't go away. And so
Yeah.
nobody upgraded. Like people bought PCs and never upgraded them. So he solved some problems, but like I say, I think Windows Phone definitely died. Sucks.
Switching gears like back to phones, this is one of the things I've kind of noticed. Very few companies, I think the only one I've seen thus far is Sony, have really come out with a 4K phone. And I think that one of the Sony Xperias has a 4K screen. Like,
Yeah.
what is your take on this new genre, not only of 4K phones, but also the new genre of gaming phones is coming out from like Razer and Asus?
I love it. I love anybody that's kind of sticking to their guns and pushing the limits and trying new stuff. I think it's kind of intimidating to do that, especially in the smartphone industry, because it's so easy to just kind of fall in line and start doing what Apple or Samsung is doing.
Mhm.
So yeah, like the Razer phone, I love what they're doing. They're literally like spitting in the face of every design, queue for the past 2 years. It's like everybody else is trying to make things smaller and sleeker and smoother, and they're like, wham, it's a brick. It's got a big battery, it's got big speakers, it's got a crazy screen, and it runs games. You're welcome. you know, I, I love it. And then even the Asus RG phone is like, yeah, it's big, it's bad. We got vents and we got angles and all kind of stuff. Got crazy accessories and clips and all this stuff you can put on it. We don't care about being small. Like, do you, man? Like, if that's what you're gonna do, go all in, man. I love it. I'm all about it. Oh man, I think I lost you. Did the string go down? Oh, Windows strikes again. Man, man. Oh man, looks like it locked up, man.
Oh, what happened? Was it just me?
Yeah, man, I think the screen's still live, if I'm not mistaken.
Hey, man, it is what it is. We can always edit this out later on. Man,
Yeah.
I swear, like, good. Anyway,
Did Windows
sorry.
start again? Did Windows hear us talking bad about them?
I know, right? Apple's right around the corner. Like, yo, Tim Cook's like, I heard what y'all said. You know what? Nah,
Oh,
blue screen of death.
man, yeah.
Oh man. Anyways, I was saying I was gonna be trying to go for that the Razer phone too, and I wanted to get your input on it.
I think it's a beautiful phone, man. I like that they didn't back down after last year. Essential kind of crashed and burned after their first attempt at a phone.
Man. You got that phone, right?
Yeah, I actually got it right here, man. I think this is the biggest disappointment. This phone feels great. They focused on all the unimportant stuff though. Like the outside of the phone feels great. The screen is trash. Touch response is trash. Camera's trash.
Dang. Even with that module add-on, that's not that good.
Oh, the module add-on is terrible. Like I got the 360 camera. You plug it up, and the footage is unusable because the phone starts getting hot. The video starts dropping frames. Like it's bad, man. Good ideas, bad execution. Like there's no way they could have tested this in the real world and been like, yeah, this is something you need. We're ready.
Man, I almost backed that phone too, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, I caught it. I felt like it was gonna be one of those kind of, I was like if you have like a Palm device or something good for the collection. It feels so good, man. I normally don't like small phones, but the ceramic, the weight of this phone, if the screen was good and the camera was good, this would probably definitely stay in my pocket, even with no headphone jack. I just like having it in my hands. It feels good, obviously, because I got it right here and I'm not using it.
Oh man, like, what's your take on all these designs that are coming out with phones? It seems like everyone. I noticed the biggest thing right now is the whole notch. Every tech YouTuber, well, not every tech YouTuber, but like Marquez Brownling, you got Jonathan Morrison, Average Consumer, Austin Evans. They're all talking about, oh, the notch is too big. The notch is too. I'm like, what are you doing that much bothers you?
So I don't think it'll be an issue, especially the way Apple has done it. Apple's made the notch almost like a status symbol, right? If your iPhone doesn't have a notch, you lived in the past. It's the old iPhone.
Yeah.
Right. But the idea that this thing that you look at all day, the main feature of your phone that you're looking at, we're going to scoop out a portion of it and insert something that you don't need. We're going to solve a problem that nobody asked us to solve. Nobody was like, you know what, I'm tired of this fingerprint sensor. Like, no. Like, we've never had a problem with that. And the fact that they're going to compromise a screen to get rid of the fingerprint sensor that nobody asked them to get rid of in a way that, as you can see now, the in-screen fingerprint sensor is the way to go. To me, I feel like Apple's just being lazy.
Yeah.
It's significantly more difficult to just make a phone with super small bezels and still give you the iris scanner and the front facing camera and the speakers and all of that stuff than it is to say, okay, we're just going to take all that stuff and just cut out the screen around it. Like that's the easy way out. Anybody can do that, obviously, because everybody in China is reproducing it. Everybody around the world is doing it. It's not hard. It's not difficult to do. It's not, great design. It's terrible design. It's terrible functionality wise, especially if you start watching video, because now when they advertise a 6.5 inch screen on the iPhone Max, XS Max, when I watch video, I either have to choose between having part of my video be compromised or have black bars on both sides of my video. And now I'm actually getting less space that I can actually watch that video in. Like there's no positives to the notch.
Yeah. And that's true, man. That's true.
Yeah.
So, how has it been being part of Team 100? And have you had the opportunity to work with a lot of other up and coming, content creators as well as big content creators?
So like I said before, Team 100 has been awesome. And like every family, you kind of have your ups and downs, but overall, it's been great, especially from the standpoint of getting to just meet other YouTubers and other non-YouTubers, especially in our Team 100 community that we have. But people that are just passionate about tech, like all day, every day, regardless of the time. And we have people in the group that are all over the world. And regardless of the time of day, there's somebody in there talking about tech. Whenever something new drops, you can go there and they'll be talking about it. So that's something that's great, and it's personal. Like the people that are there. It's not like going to like Android Central or something like that. You can actually kind of communicate with people, and they know you, and everybody supports each other. It's been great, man. And then as far as working with bigger YouTubers, everybody in the group kind of has, I think, somebody that they know that's kind of a bigger YouTuber in some way. So it's a way to kind of share contacts, especially when it comes to, vendors and products and things like that. But I've gotten to work not directly, but I've been in the video with a couple of big YouTubers, and it wouldn't have happened without Team 100 for sure.
Definitely, man. You got the swagger to make it happen and the charisma. So,
oh man, I appreciate
I believe it, man. That's one of the things like I wanted to ask too. Like, and this is probably going to get controversial. So I know probably everyone up in here, there's I have a notorious video.
The video, yes.
Where I clapped back at a certain YouTuber, and that video created a lot of controversy. And while I did it in fun and jest, it has in a way blacklisted me with a lot of other tech and phone, the tech community. But do you feel that some content creators take themselves too seriously?
I definitely think you have people that they kind of start smelling themselves a little bit. They kind of start sipping their own Kool-Aid and start feeling like their opinion is worth more than somebody else's opinion. And because they have the platform, that they kind of deserve the right to tell you what things are and are not. And that's not the case. Like, that's like everybody's opinion is valid. Right. Yeah. So definitely don't tell me something crazy. And then when I'm like, oh, well, why do you feel like that? You flip out and lose your mind. Like, if those are the only kind of people you want, people that just take whatever you say for the gospel, like, I can delete you off all my stuff. I don't care how big you get. Don't say my name.
Yep, that's true. I mean, I want to ask, like, is there a lot of controversy with content creators in the tech field, or rather, are there massive egos there, too much? As I know personally, in the video game YouTube scene, there's people that have God complexes and they feed into their own hype. I mean, I've butted heads with a lot of people in the gaming YouTube community, and it's like they really have astronomical egos, and it's like, dude, you're just like any other person. You're in the camera, you've got an audience. Your word is not the final authority on something. Like, is that also kind of an issue within the tech YouTuber field you see as well?
I think initially, once I started kind of reaching out, basically every opportunity I had to kind of interact with or work with another YouTuber, I took it. I think now, especially with Team 100, we've kind of filtered down to kind of people with a similar take on just this YouTube as a thing. Like, none of us are living off of YouTube, right? We got real jobs, we got families. Like, if you can't do something, you just can't do it. Like, you got to work. It's not that big of a deal. We don't take it that seriously. But vice versa, we also respect each other as people. You're not a YouTube personality. Like you're a man or you're a woman. You got a family. You got the same problems I got. So I think that we all have kind of have people that we kind of mess with and people we don't mess with.
Yeah.
At this point, we're just lucky enough to have a team of people that we can mess with and not have no drama.
And have you had yourself any type of challenging run-ins with anyone?
Yeah. Actually, the same YouTuber you had, had to clap back at. I'm not gonna give him no airtime or nothing like that, but it was a similar, and I've heard this from other people that have run-ins with him. Either people love him, but once they have a run-in with him, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Usually it's they challenge something he said or some kind of statement he said, like, this is the best advice. And they're like, oh, well, why do you feel that way? Or what makes you the best? And it's like he just flips out, starts telling them, like starts berating them. Like I know for me, he said that like the U11 or something like that was the most complete phone last year. And this was after the Pixel, after the Note, after the iPhone. And I'm like, that's a bold statement. That's literally all I said. And he's like, why? Because you think the Note 8, you Samsung Nikes kill me and all this stuff. I'm like, I made a legitimate statement. You literally said that this HTC phone that like zero point 0.1 people have ever seen or touched because it ain't sold in no stores is the most complete phone. And you have zero data to back this up. Like I don't think anybody's saying that. Like you didn't say it was a good phone. That's not even really, that's so subjective, But you're saying like it's the most complete, which means it is better than every other phone out. You can believe that that's not what you're saying. And then if you're not saying that, clarify. But instead of being a man about it and responding with some dignity and some respect for himself, he just went straight into like kind of like defensive mode because somebody actually challenged his opinion. So after that, I tried to make sure I wasn't misunderstanding what he was saying. And I gave him chances to clarify what he meant and give him a chance to actually provide some sort of reasoning for why he was saying that. But he wasn't interested in that. It was the fact that I didn't agree with him. Like he was not all about that at all.
That person is very notorious for making a lot of statements and just trying to think it's gospel. And that's why, like, when I did my little video about him, it was just out of fun, people. When the comment was made, if you ain't got 10,000 subscribers, who are you?
Yeah.
Mine was just for fun, but yeah, it got completely taken out of context. And in the video game YouTube scene, we got people like that too. I'm just gonna drop his name. Player Essence is one. Beat 'em Up Woods, Spawn Wave, RGT85. A lot of these people, Dreamcast guy, they have super huge egos. And I'm over here like, if you say anything to get on their bad side, it's like they're gonna do anything to just ruin you. And they thought they did that to me. Like I don't know if you play Super Smash Brothers or anything like that, but
yeah, a little bit.
I played casually, and I had a situation like earlier this year, probably around, I want to say June or May. Like somebody on Twitter asked me if I thought Smash was a fighting game. I said, no, I don't think it is. I think it's a good little party battle arena type game, but comparing that to Street Fighter or Tekken or something like that, no, I don't think it's in the same category. My saying that to someone else, that YouTuber Player Essence took it and ran with it. He ran with it, called me out. His fan base called me out. Then it got so out of control when I wouldn't debate him that I was starting getting death threats from his fans. Like people trying to dox me. People were messaging my wife. And I'm like, some of these people take their status way too seriously.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's crazy. Because I mean, I think at a certain point, I think you have to be responsible with what you say.
Yeah.
Everybody, we're all regular people. Like if your YouTube got shut down, what would you be? Would your life be over, or would you still be whoever you say you are on YouTube?
Yeah.
If not, you might want to re-examine what you're doing, because that's a whole lot of eggs to put in one basket, man.
And that's like one of the things I notice a lot of these people that are trying to just be only about YouTube. They don't have anything out of it. And like you said, when it's gone, if everything you have, if you don't have like connections with companies, if you don't have sponsorships, endorsements, or any type of deals going on, or any side business ventures, if this is gone, and it's shaping that way too, since Google, the algorithm change, and they're trying to be about advertiser friendly. What are these people going to do?
Yeah, man. I mean, that should have been a wake up call. Because I know a lot of people's pockets lighten up a lot.
Yep.
When all those advertisers backed out. I mean, that should have made people kind of put their head on the swivel and start looking at some other stuff to do. Like, I need to start, reaching out to some people and forming some relationships and things like that. I need to start making a plan B. But I mean, some people, man, they just addicted to the fame of it, and that's all they have.
Yeah. But we can steer away from the controversy. That was the most controversial stuff I wanted to talk about. I want to go ahead and ask you, like, do you feel like tech as a whole, not only including phones, but computers as well as tablets, like, have they grown in popularity because society has latched on to tech and given us in our daily lives, or is it something else?
I definitely think that the dependence on tech has gone up a lot, specifically smartphones and computers, because there are a lot of things. No, they've been around for a while, but we didn't use them to the extent that we use them now. Like smartphones have always had calendars on them, and they've always had calculators. They've always had cameras, but they've just gotten to a point now where they're so good at what they do, and they made it so easy for us to rely on it and access it. Especially if you have like a voice assistant. I'm in the kitchen earlier and I'm telling Google to add stuff to my shopping list so I can pick it up as I'm using the last of it. Like I'm using the last of the rosemary because I'm a chef on the side. I get down in the kitchen using the last of the rosemary, and I'm telling Google, hey, put rosemary on my shopping list. It's like, hey, I put rosemary on your shopping list. Like that's, and then now whenever I go to the store, it's going to automatically pop up a reminder, show me that list without any interaction from me. So I think they've done a good job of kind of allowing the tech to help us in a seamless way. And so now a lot more people rely on it, especially Gmail and Google products.
Yeah. Definitely, man. And with phones becoming increasingly, more expensive, hitting well over $1,000 for a smartphone, do you think that this is going to become a norm outside of Apple and Samsung, or do you think that those two titans have basically created like a new category, being the luxury phone? Because you got people like OnePlus that are just making killer phones for half or a fraction of the price. So
that's an interesting concept. I think that Samsung and Apple created two categories, either an Apple or a Samsung. I think those names can demand those prices, but we've seen LG is like a prime candidate right now. The V40 that just dropped, it's got 5 cameras on it. They're trying really hard. It's a good phone. It's got decent specs, nothing bleeding edge, but you can tell they put a little effort into trying to double down on their niche, which is content creator. So it's got the great audio, great cameras, a lot of flexibility with the cameras, and it can do some things that no other cameras can do, but nobody's going to pay $1,000 for it. Like if it's on the shelf next to an iPhone XS or next to a Galaxy Note 9, nobody's going to pick it up and be like, yeah, this is worth it. Like I think it's more of a branding thing right now. Because it's very difficult to pick up any phone and say, yes, this feature right here or this group of features makes it worth $1,000. Like, it's hard to do that.
Yeah, that makes sense. We're winding down to our last 3 questions. Man, this podcast has been fun. You been having fun with it, man?
Oh yeah, man, I've been loving it, man. I'm honored to be on here, man. I'm sharing the link out with my friends. Like, man, I'm the #1 podcaster in Hawaii, man. It's gonna interview me. This is a big deal.
Hey man, it's an honor having you on the show, man. I like I said, man, I'm a fan of your content. I dig your swag, and you're definitely gonna be blowing up soon, man.
I appreciate that, man. I really do.
But we coming down to this question. We often hear people say that they are power users. You mind explaining what that is, and do you think a lot of people fall into that category?
So I answer the last question first. That'll be the quickest. No. I think most people do not fall into that category. And I think they've done studies because that basically everything you do on your phone is tracked to some extent. They know, the manufacturers know what you're interacting with, what features you're using. And I say that most people, they don't even download new apps. Like they might download 1 new app a month. A lot of people don't even change their original wallpaper. They don't rearrange their apps. They don't install another launcher. The majority of people aren't doing anything near what would classify you as a power user. To me, in order to be a power user, I think you have to be the kind of person that basically goes through pretty much all the features of a phone. Like you have a full grasp on everything your phone is capable of, whether you use it or not. You're the type of person that's going to go through the settings and look at all the little options, all the little check boxes, the switches, play around with things, and then just in your daily life, you try to find some way to fit those features into your life. Try to find some way like, oh, I can use this. That's going to make my life easier.
Mhm.
You really take advantage of everything the phone has to offer. You know, to me, that's what a power user is. I know that's what I do.
Okay. Yeah, I think you and I we're the same on that thought. Like when we hear the term power user, it's like, are you really?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'll be honest. I watch YouTubers on, and they'll be like, yeah, power user such as myself, I get 7.5 hours of screen on time. Oh, there's no way you'd be a power user because 7.5 hours of screen on time. You must be sitting your phone up on a stand and playing YouTube. That's it. That's not a power user. There's no way you're really using that phone. And
And
you're
it's
getting
like
7.5 hours, man.
when you hear like a lot of these tech YouTubers talk about power users, and
Mhm.
no disrespect to any of them or anything, but it's like being a power user doesn't mean you're just using, social media and camera apps. Like,
Yeah.
this leads into my next question. But there doesn't seem to be many tech YouTubers that cater to IT people such as you and I. And it seems that they just focus on apps for social media, photography, instead of true productivity. Why do you
Yeah.
think that is? Because if
Um,
I'm listening to like MKBHD or your average consumer or even Michael Fisher, no disrespect to any of them,
mm,
they don't cater to me as an IT professional.
yeah. I think the biggest thing on that is going to be views, like just what the average person is going to be interested in seeing, what the average person is going to want to know about phones. Um, I think that somebody I like. I think it's just difficult to present that type of information in a way that has mass appeal. I
Mhm.
think that Erica Griffin has found her niche because she gets very in depth, very technical with her analysis of phones. She's very objective in how she compares phones. She gets, some people love her for it, some people hate her for it. They feel like she's nitpicking and that kind of stuff. But she's taking a scientific approach to her review of her phones. I like that. Jerry Rig Everything is another guy who, he's doing phone teardowns. He's doing, durability tests on these phones, and the videos are cool. They're fun to watch, or sometimes they make you cringe if he's tearing down your favorite phone. But the idea is to figure out what kind of lifespan you can expect from this phone. Um,
Mhm.
and so if you're just like a tech focused person, it's just hard to find a way to cover those topics or present that information in a way that has mass appeal.
Mhm. Okay. And I know like another one that I really like, and I don't see her getting like a lot of recognition is Lisa from Mobile Tech.
Oh yeah, I like her videos. It's funny because her videos are super simple, but
Yeah.
she's like methodical in
Yeah.
how she reviews the products. Um, yeah, I like her. She's cool.
So, you know, you're a gamer as well as a computer tech head like myself.
Yes,
So,
sir.
what are some of your favorite games to play, and what's your favorite console, both of all time and this generation? And
Okay, okay.
what's your thoughts on this?
We're gonna leave the monster in the room for last. Um, my favorite console of all time has to be the Nintendo 64.
Okay.
So like the
Okay.
64 was groundbreaking. First time I played Mario in 3D was amazing. Like I
Yeah.
still remember how I felt with that weird controller with the joystick, and
Yeah.
then playing GoldenEye and you had the Z trigger. And I was like, this is just like firing a real gun. Not really, but it was the closest we had got.
Yeah.
I felt like Nintendo knocked it out the park with that. That's one of my favorite consoles. My favorite console this generation is definitely the PS4.
Hmm.
Um, I got a PS4 Pro. I feel like it is, a console is only as good as its content,
Yeah.
and the PlayStation platform right now is the king of content. Especially first party games, there's almost no competition. The Switch, they have their niche, but you can't even get the experience you get on a PS4 or even Xbox One on a Switch. It's an entirely different animal.
The
But
Switch, I mean, basically, I compare the Switch. You're getting a lot of last generation experiences on the Switch. You know, if we're being completely honest about it.
yeah. I mean that I think that, and Nintendo's always kind of tried to carve their own niche.
Yeah.
I think the Switch is what the Wii U should have been.
Yeah.
I felt the Wii U was like a prototype, and then the Switch is the Wii U fully realized. You get all the benefits of the the mobile gaming experience, the pick up and go, like go from your TV to your bedroom or your car and you're playing. It's a great concept, well executed. I mean, but it does have some downfalls. I don't see anybody playing Dragon Ball Fighters using the Joy Cons. That's just kind of impossible.
Yeah.
Like, that's gonna suck. You got to have a pro controller for that.
Yeah.
I think stuff like that, where it's like as soon as you start getting to a certain genre of game, you got to buy a whole new controller. I mean, that's a weakness in the platform. But like I say, for me, the PlayStation is definitely the pinnacle. Even if the Xbox, I know the Xbox One X is more powerful and native 4K and blah blah blah. But what are you playing on the Xbox One X? You can't even play the best games of this console generation on the Xbox One X. Like a lot of them reside on PlayStation and they're exclusive. So native 4K, it kind of don't even matter, you know. But the elephant though, that Red Dead, it's amazing, man. I had high hopes. Once you get Rockstar in the mix, and then the Red Dead the Red Dead game itself, that series has like a huge following and a whole bunch of hype that comes along with it. But I've been impressed. Even the technical stuff and the details they've taken with the game have been impressive, just with the the character models and the world and like the horse and the fact that they have a physics engine just for the mud and an engine for the horse itself and then one for hair and all that stuff. That's crazy and over the top. But for me, it's been the storytelling. Like I feel like I'm playing a movie.
Yeah.
The way that they transition from cutscenes back to actual, live gameplay, the way the characters interact with each other is very organic. It doesn't feel as canned as it has in other games. Even in GTA, GTA is pretty old, but they've come, leaps and bounds past that as far as just, the interactions with characters. Whenever I know that they've done a very good job of storytelling and character development, when I start remembering characters' names and things like that, and I start feeling a certain kind of way about certain characters when they hit the part.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with you on all fronts. I like Xbox as a brand. I have the One X. I just got a new one. Shout out to Microsoft for shooting that to me because I won some type of giveaway they had.
Hey,
I came home to that, so I can't knock it. But
that's a good day.
The one thing Microsoft fell off with this generation has been the games, and how the second thing would be their marketing, because you would not be able to go back and tell someone during the height of the 360 era that the Xbox would fall off with the sequel.
Yeah.
Now I don't. A lot of people say, "Oh, it's an E3 from 2013." It's not just that.
No, it's not.
No. There haven't been games like single player. I know multiplayer was a focus last gen. This gen, you got people that actually want to have the best of both. If they want to play games with their friends, they can play the Fortnite, the PUBGs and whatnot. Yeah, Call of Duty. They still want to play some single player experiences that engross them. And it just has not been happening on Xbox. And I think it's just a sign of them trying to focus on services. And that's not really a great thing, in my opinion.
Yeah. I definitely agree with you. The E3 was definitely, that was a rough start. They kind of stumbled out the gate, and they kind of gave PlayStation a leg up. Because I'm pretty sure that the execs for PlayStation were watching Microsoft's E3 conference, and they immediately went to their script and started rewriting it.
Right.
to basically make sure they cover everything where Microsoft fell off at. So when they had the guy come on the stage, like, hey, this is how you play with friends on PlayStation. Take one guy, hand another guy the game. It's like, and then now as Microsoft, you got to try to clear that up, and you got to try to address it and remedy it and all that stuff. But when they told the troops, if you're in the military, the Xbox 360 is still a great platform, that was a slap in the face, man. That was pure disrespect. Pure disrespect. So they just, I don't know, they got too full of themselves and focused on basically everything but games. They're like, yeah, you can now Skype with your friends while you're playing a game. You can watch live TV and picture and all that stuff. It's like nobody's buying a gaming console to do all that. Like you really lost focus. And then when the Xbox One dropped and it was $100 more than the PS4,
Man,
but they both had the exact same hardware, it's like you literally have no leg to stand on. You want to pay more. Nobody wants to connect. That is not why people are buying. Like, if we want to do motion stuff, we're gonna buy a Nintendo. Like, we're not buying. Like, you can't force a connect on people like that. They were just so full of themselves that they console generation, this new console generation, and they tried to backtrack a lot of stuff. They unbundled the Connect. They got rid of the DRM stuff that didn't allow you to play unless you were online, and But at that point, a lot of the damage had been done, and then developers, they're looking at numbers, like how many units you got. PlayStation is knocking out the park, so we're gonna dev for PlayStation. And then a lot of the games that come out on both consoles that are cross-plat, they actually run better on PlayStation because it's not running 3 OSs like the Xbox One is.
Yeah.
They're not trying to do all this other entertainment, multimedia stuff. They're doing what they said they were going to do. Everything is gaming focused on the PlayStation.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been something, and I feel for those that bought the One X, myself included, because I got the Scorpio last year, to get that, and then for this year, not even a year after, getting it at E3 there now. So yeah, we're working on Project Scarlet, the next Xbox.
Yep. Disrespect, man. Pure disrespect. The fact that I don't know what's going on at Xbox. Hey, my bad. The One S should have been a 4K machine.
Yeah.
They literally chose. The One S does everything but play games in 4K. They literally chose 4K Netflix over 4K gaming. Because the Pro and the regular PS4 have the same hardware. They just kind of reallocated some of the resources and overclocked some stuff. They could have done it with the S, but they didn't. Like, that was their second chance, and they still kind of shit on gaming. Like, not worried about gaming. Watch this 4K Netflix. It's like they're not listening to nobody.
Yeah. All right, man. And when it comes to computers and TVs, what do you recommend a person look for when they're considering a new computer or TV?
New computer. It definitely depends on what you're trying to do. I think everybody's wallet is going to kind of decide for them what you can get. But I think PCs have gotten a lot better. You don't have to spend, $1,200 on a PC. You can, I think for a PC, i5, 8 gig of RAM, 512 gigs of storage. That should hold most people for a while. Windows 10 is pretty good about over-the-air updates, and they got their little storage sense feature, so they kind of clean up after themselves a little bit better. So I think that either on a laptop or a desktop, I think that would run the average person fine for a couple years and won't break the bank. As far as TV, 4K HDR. I don't care what size you get. Those two things need to be on the TV that you buy. 4K HDR, definitely.
All right, and the last question I got for you, man, is when it comes to content creation and YouTube, what advice would you give to someone seeking to find their own voice, style, content, and direction?
Do you, man? Like, you might not think you're that interesting. You might think that nobody thinks like you, or nobody likes the way you talk or you look. It's people on YouTube that would prove you wrong every day, and people are going to vibe with you being you. You get on there trying to copy somebody else's style or whatever. Guess what? You always going to be second best, right? Because they're always going to do them better than you can do them. So figure out a way to express yourself, talk about stuff you like and the way you like to, and rock out that way, man. Refine it. I always respect people that try to get better at what they do. They don't have to copy what somebody else is doing.
right, man. Then that's all the questions I had, man. Where can everyone find you, man?
Oh yeah, man. So of course you can find me on YouTube at the Tech Gentleman. Find me on Instagram at the Tech Gentleman as well, and also on Twitter at the_Tech Gent. And believe it or not, I still hang out on Google Plus a little bit too. The Tech Gentleman on there as well.
All right, man. And did you have fun?
Oh, hey, this was a blast, man. It's my first interview, man, and this was a wonderful experience. I tell anybody, come on here and chop it up with Mr. Casanova, man. It's been great.
Hey, man, it's been a true honor having you on the show, man. I like doing interviews like this. I can just sit and chop it up with people, try to have basically just having organic conversations, whatever comes to mind, whatever direction we go, that's where we're going. That's
yeah.
But this has been a lot of fun, man. Definitely got to get you on. Shout out to Team 100.
Yes,
came through to watch, and this podcast will be up. It's already up here on YouTube. You guys can watch it. It will be up on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, and very soon we're going to be coming to also, yeah, and let me throw that in there. We're also on Google Play Music, so just look up the Casanova podcast. But soon it's going to be coming to XM Radio and Sirius FM. We just signed a contract with them, so it's going to be syndicated. That's what I'm looking forward to.
What's up, man?
But definitely, everyone, the Tech Gentleman's information is all in the description of this video and this podcast. So make sure you go to his channel, smash that subscribe button, ding the bell, make sure you like all his videos. He has such a phenomenal way and style and swagger when it comes to his videos. I'm a fan. I think you're going to be a fan too, as well as all his social media links. All of it's down in the description below. So make sure you go and follow him. And that being said, man, any final words you want to get to the audience?
I guess sorry for the dog. He's outside wilding right now. But outside of that, man, it's been wonderful, man. It's been a great experience. I appreciate it.
Man, anytime, man. Don't apologize about the dog, man. That's just part of the organic nature of it. Hell, I got kicked off my own stream and I had to come back in.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that is the organic nature. You're right about that, man. Won't find it anywhere else.
Hey, man, that's how it goes. But with that being said, we're going to wrap up the show. Thank everyone for watching. Tech Gentleman, thank you for coming through. And we'll catch you guys on the next one.
All right. Peace.